Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. The USC Family Caregiver Support Center is pleased to provide this educational video for families and relatives who take care of one or more loved ones. This virtual event is part of our 6-week caregiver discussion series that explores how cultural backgrounds shape us as caregivers. Today's discussion will be around the family caregiving experience through the eyes of Armenian family caregivers. I'm Allison Corey, and I will be your host for today's program. Before we begin, I want to introduce you to the center. The USC Family Caregiver Support Center serves and supports family caregivers as they navigate through their caregiving journey. The service provides services as information and referral, support groups, evidence-based trainings, community education, and much more to family caregivers seeking help. If you're a family caregiver who is struggling or needs support, we can help. Our center is also home to the Los Angeles Caregiver Resource Center, which is part of the California statewide system of 11 caregiver resource centers. This month, we've invited many caregivers from different backgrounds to share how their cultural heritage has shaped their caregiving experience. We're almost at the end of October, so this is actually our second to last event, but you can still register for the last event in this series at the website address at the bottom of the screen. If you are unable to watch these videos live, don't worry. We will email you a link to our recorded videos to watch at a later time, but you must be registered to receive the link. We also invite you to interact with us and our staff in the chat feature. It is a great opportunity to talk to other caregivers who may be tuning in and watching the event at the same time. Please note that you must be logged into your YouTube account to submit your comments. Now let's get this show going. We've invited 3 family caregivers here today to give us insight into the Armenian family caregiving experience. This discussion will allow caregivers in this demographic to relate to and learn about others' triumphs and struggles when providing care for a loved one. They will provide some insight into their personal experiences on how cultural beliefs or viewpoints shape their caregiving decisions and color their perspectives. Arsina Hartutian, assistant at the USC Family Support Center, will be our moderator for today's panel.
Hello, everyone. First, I would like to thank USC Family Caregiver Resource Center to give us such a great opportunity to speak up about the caregivers. So my name is Arsina Hartunian, and I've been working with USC Family Caregiver Support Centers for about 2 years now, and as an administrative budget assistant, helping all the financial support system for respite, invoices, and all caregivers need. So to tell you about a little bit about myself, so I also about the background. So I also immigrated from Iran 15 years ago, and I had my talents and up and down. So I started my education, and meanwhile I had my 2 babies. So coming along with this journey with me, luckily with the support of my husband, I was able to finish my university to get the degree from Cal State University of Northridge and for financial analysis. And then I was able to work with USC. The great opportunity. I'm looking forward to get my master soon. So happy to be in this meeting that we can discuss about the Armenian and Farsi speaker caregiver panels and and about the challenges that we are going through. So I'm going to start off with a question about, like, as I said, about my biography, about the background that I had. I would like to you all to introduce yourself. We're going to start from Arpa. Yes, if you're ready.
Yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Arpa. Uh, I am my both parents' caregiver since 2013. Uh, we immigrated to United States in 2011. Currently, I'm studying medical assisting and I'm an art teacher also.
Great, thank you. All right.
My name is Araz. As so many Armenians, I'm one of the immigrants as well. Moved to States from Iran back to 2007. I started my caregiver opportunity since 2010 for my mom and until now. And also, I educated in architecture. I worked as a designer in a side, and also took care of my mom as a caregiver.
Great, thank you so much.
Mhm.
Alvar.
Oh, yeah, my name is Alberto Nican. I emigrated here in 2002, and when I came in America, I didn't know any leadership, and start study so hard in 44-year-old, and then I took my license CNA, and then I caregiver now for my husband, my mom, starting 2013. I have three kids and seven grandchildren.
Great, awesome. Thank you. That was a great challenge for you, Albert. I know it's been hard for us to study English and also like this country and all movement along with the kids and caregivers. Awesome. Thank you so much. So we are going to let's get to right to the heart of this COVID-19 that we all going through this. Even and but I think family caregivers have some unique challenges during this time. So Armenian and Farsi caregivers, uh, sorry, I messed up with the question. Can you stop?
You know
Yeah, I messed up
Farsi.
and I
I
was
know
about to
Arab.
read the question number one and I sorry. Um, just for after Alvar, let's start from there again.
Okay.
So great, thank you. So let's get into the hurt of the COVID-19 has challenged everyone, but I think family caregivers have some unique challenges during this time. Can you tell us about like what those have been for you? Arpa, if you can.
Uh, yes, for my both parents were like most of elders stays at home. They have a little bit hard time for expressing whatever is going on. Even in English, they had a hard time for expressing. And most of all, unfortunately, an accident happened to my dad that he fall down and he needs to need in the need of a surgery for his shoulder. So uh, that makes situation worse. We had a situation that we only were able to talk with him when he was in a hospital with the cell phone video calls. and it took approximately a month, a week in the hospital, and a month for his physical therapist that he came to that the physical therapist came to home for assisting him, helping with exercises and so on, and it uh, and he somehow still he recovering.
Oh, I'm so sorry that you've been through all this situations,
Uh,
and I know it was
uh,
hard for everybody that day, especially we had if we had hospitalized person and we cannot go visit them, and it was so hard for us, for the loved one. I hope he's doing fine and he will get soon
yes.
recovery. How about
Thank
you,
you.
Ara?
So, as all the elder people, after hearing all the news about this COVID and being so panicked about not having any physical contact to anyone, um, I had to wear a mask every time I was visiting my mom, doing everything what she needs to do. She was usually doing her daily walk during like 2-3 blocks around the house, because she cannot really walk that much, but she likes to have that walk every morning. But because of the COVID, she has to stay home, and she was bored. She lives alone by herself, and kind of even media kind of make her even more panic about it. Well, we had to keep our distance from her a little bit, because I didn't know if I can pass the virus to her or not. So it was kind of difficult situation for me and my mom, kind of dealing with this. But thank God she's vaccinated now, and now she can continue her normal life, kind of.
Yes, great. And especially now we're if we are vaccinated, they've been told that we cannot force to have a mask on. So that's great. I'm glad that she passed everything good and she's healthy. So how about you, Albert? What was the challenge for you? You can speak Armenian if you want, or you
Uh,
can speak
I
English.
I take care of my mom and my husband. They always, that COVID-19, during the COVID-19 time until now, they stay in a home. I work, I did the home health care, and I always keep my mask, and I came and take care of them. But until now, they don't take any virus and not COVID 19. And then even I don't, they don't vaccinated, and even my mom and my husband they don't want to vaccinate. But however, they good. They keep every rules keep clean, and they okay until now.
Good. I know it's some people don't like to have vaccinated. That's totally fine. And I'm glad that they've been survived, and even without a vaccine, they had their social distance and all that. Thanks. Great. Awesome. So about the next question will be Armenian Farsi caregivers, they have always been challenges before this crisis, including language barriers, cultural differences, and the cover of challenges political landscapes of being Armenian American in the United States. Can you tell us more about how the Armenian Farsi community has influenced accessible resources for family caregivers? Arpa, if you mind, you can start. Since you're like my
Uh,
screen, you're the one that starts.
uh, for the caregivers, one of the reasons that it was helpful for me was we had relatives that also they were caregivers. So whatever I have a question or concern, I always talked with them to know like how are things going on, to be updated, to communicate with them who are also caregivers. Um, and yeah, mainly like the also the community uh, helps like the community is more understandable about uh, like that like there's a mainly elders are um, have a hard time to speak the culture, so they they come with this point of view that they understand um, the situation of the new people or the immigrants that are in their 60s or 70s.
Good. Yeah, I know. How about you, Aras?
Um,
Uh,
my
yeah, how
concern
about
is
you?
actually I believe Armenians and Farsi speakers, we've been so lucky to be in such a community because we always had this support from the city hall, from everywhere, every office, especially in Glendale, Burbank, and all Armenian town. Offices for IHSS, they always have these Farsi Armenian speakers available. So at the beginning, when I started being a caregiver, my English wasn't good as everybody else. I mean, I started with English ESL 101. I mean, everybody knows what it is. So always, I never, and I didn't have really big family back then here to help me out, but the community and we had all this help over there to help us to process the application for any help as far as the questions and concerns and process of the being applying for the caregiving and all this. It was very helpful for us. Um, but I feel like there's still stuff that they can improve as a addition. I notice. I mean, right now I don't really need to have an English or Farsi addition in a website, but for the timesheet process in IHS's website, I noticed it's such a basic website, and there is no English or Farsi option to change the website to another language. I think for the new beginner, it will be very good addition if they can kind of make some changes in the website and make it much more kind of helpful to people who are not really comfortable in English.
That's great. That's a great point that you point out that so for whoever cannot like do the application online in English, they can do it in Armenian as well, such as DMV. If our community go to
Uh,
the DMV,
Correction,
yeah,
it's not the IHS's real website. It's they changed
time
the
sheet.
system for the timesheets. That's the one you cannot change the language, as much as I know. I don't know, maybe they made some changes, but at
No,
the
I
beginning
think
when I
it's still the same. Still is the same. Hope they can fix that one for our community because it's a great big like 90% of our Glendale is Armenian, and around the Los Angeles we have a huge
we have
population. So how about you, Albert? Is any challenges like or any influenced Armenian community to all to as a caregiver? So
Uh, for me, I never feel the hard time to work or fill out applications because I live in Glendale, many Armenian people, and I have a good neighbors like you. And then when I need something, everybody ready to help. And wherever you go, bank or I just office or somewhere, everywhere, Armenia are speak Russian, and then even Russian side, if they know Russian, they help us. I don't feel any hard
many
time with good people because, however, Armenian people they used to help each other wherever
yeah
they whatever they need. everybody help. And even me, if I know something that the caregivers for caregivers, because I'm CNA, I know everything. I learn already. I think that how to give a shower, how to prepare the meal, how to take feed them difficult, and I don't have a hard time. That's the Armenian people are very
Amazing.
happy. They are they they are here and so happy
So
live around the Armenian people and American too. They are very nice, and even you don't speak English good, they say it's okay, it's okay. Don't feel bad. It's okay, and then they give us like a wings, and then you say it's okay, everything.
that's awesome. Thank you so much for the compliment. I always try to help everyone, especially neighbor kind as you. And I'll do
Yeah,
whatever I
I want
can.
to tell you guys, she is so helpful people, the person, and then ready, even she has a hard time, she busy, she leave it everything, go to them if somewhere.
Thank you. No problem. Thank you so much. It's
Okay,
my
thank you.
pleasure to help you all,
Okay,
and it's great. Yeah, I know we all. Uh, as a human, wherever we go, we try to help each other out, even though we don't know uh, that much, but we
yeah,
know, and we transfer our information to each other to see, like, how can I help? Like, even in the street, in the groceries, or wherever
yeah,
we go. Thank you. So the great, awesome. It's a great experience to share each other's experience. So next question will be: Armenian and Farsi speaking Americans are resilient in that we have had to tap into the strengths and support system to overcome challenges and work through problems. Could you all share some of the strength and support you tap into as a caregivers? I know it kind of similar to first question, but again, we can share what was the strength and support system to our caregivers. Arpa, you want to start?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Uh, for creating a support system for my both parents, I try to create something routine, like they have a schedule, like they the daily schedule, um, whatever their 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 chores or whatever they do. I encourage them not, even though both parents would like to have a rest, more relaxing time. I'm trying to how much that they can try to a little bit challenging physically and mentally because uh, whenever they get relaxed, they lose the interest to be more active. So I try to say them like just go 10 minutes for a walk, uh, go together or um, make a phone call to friends, make sure how they feel, or try to purchase newspapers, Farsi and Armenian newspapers to challenge their minds, or even playing some games with them to be challenging for them to that. Even though they are elder, but they still are valuable people for the family, friends, and community.
Of course, yes. That's a great point. Yeah. I was going to add that, like, we can play games with them. Like, I know Albert is buying, like, some number games, and she's been doing
yeah,
that. It's so great. So she's always do so, like, such a educational games in the house with their mom and her husband. So how about yours? Uh, strengths and support
So
system in the
what
caregiver.
happened?
my mom is pretty busy with the phone calls actually and video times with the family member. We are so fortunately, unfortunately, we are four sisters and around the world. None of us are close by, and grandkids, again, they are not in the U.S. So for her, is like catching up with every single one. It takes time. So video call nowadays is her favorite things to do. But as I said, my mom, she's suffering with some bone issues, and she does need some exercises on daily basis to be able to, believe it or not, even just stand up and sit by herself. She needs to have daily activities like a serious exercises that she does. So for me, I need to make sure that she does it properly, and sometimes she actually goes above and beyond that. Sometimes we play bingo together, and she likes it. And obviously now it's COVID time. People don't want to hang out together, but having a friends time with her, like having people around because she's very alone. So that's what I trying to kind of arrange for her.
That's great. Awesome. I know being I have an extended family too, as like all around the board, and but I don't have time to call them all like during the week. But I try to call again my mom and during and ask them how they're feeling and everything. So it's hard, but I'm so happy that she can do and she's tech savvy and she can do the voice phone call and do the FaceTime. This technology is great. So they can take
Yeah,
an
thanks to the
advantage of.
technology.
Yes, take the advantage. Just click on the call and then do it. So how about you, Albert? I know some, but you can tell us.
Okay. My mom before COVID-19, she went to care center, and then they had a good activity day. But now they send her food every day, and then with the food they send the papers for coloring papers, puzzles, and then she likes to color the paper, and she watching TV, her favorite serials, uh, going down. She's walking. She has having good time. She has good time every day, and
With
because
the
she
help and
doesn't have
support of you, I'm sure.
she doesn't have walking problem, nothing. She playing cards with the grandchild every day, something new. Because our home is always full with grandchild, with my kids, and it's every day so happy. It goes happy and finished happy day. It's okay.
So
Everything is
it's
good.
good. It's such a blessing, Albert. Such a blessing
Yeah,
to have
thank
a
you.
lot of like
Thank you.
children and
God bless all
grandchildren
of you
around.
guys. God bless all of you.
Thank you. So it's a great opportunity for everyone. But regards to the back to the circle back to the Armenian Farsi community as a support to our culture and our caregivers in not especially Glendale. I know Glendale is we have a huge population of Armenian that we can do anything without even knowing English. But let's say if I'm coming from Armenia or Iran and going to like New York, I can't do anything. So in there, so I will need the support and I will need a call or I will need someone for me to translate. But here we don't have that issue. Even around the Los Angeles, right? Northridge, like LA area, it covers all the Los Angeles, which is great. Awesome. So, do you have more to share or anything else you would like to share or point out? Or
Thank you for that
Mhm.
organization, Arsine. You organized that. I don't know. And thank you, because we knew every day new people. We met with the new people, and we are very happy to meet each other. I
Great.
thank you, Abra and Aras, and everybody here.
Oh, great. Thank you. How about
Okay.
you and Aras and Arpa? Do you have anything else to share or
I
questions from us?
No, I just want to thank USC to stepping up and do such a great program to help caregivers to do more and also expand what you guys doing for us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you, Arsene, and also the USC Family Caregiver Support Center that listen to our voices.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. It's well, you're welcome all. And LACRC, as we say, USC Family Caregiver Support Center, is trying to help the community, everyone in every language, caregivers that they're caregiving for their loved one. And if they need help, they can call us on our toll-free number, and which is on this website on the bottom. And also you can reach out to us in any way in our website as well. And thank you all for attending to our meeting, and your time, and appreciate for your all the efforts that you did for us. Thanks.
Thank you, Arsena, for such an informative panel. I also want to take a moment to thank our caregiver panelists for their willingness to share their thoughts in such an honest manner. Your courage to share both your struggles and triumphs helps those of us watching not feel so alone in our journey. You are an inspiration to us. Next, we are joined by Giselle Silva, who is a family care navigator at the USC Family Caregiver Support Center. She is here today as a community expert in the world of caregiving, helping us to understand some of the cultural specific challenges that Armenian family caregivers can face. Giselle has worked with families, caregivers, and older adults with multiple medical and cognitive impairments in Los Angeles County for over 10 years. In addition to working full-time at the center, Giselle is currently a graduate student at the USC Leonard Davis School of Gerontology, where she is pursuing a Master's of Science in Gerontology. Giselle, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Allison. Thank you for having us, for having me at that. So,
All of us, right? We're in this together. We can't do this alone. I'm going
absolutely.
to just jump into some questions from our audience. I know
Okay.
that our panelists touched on this a little bit, but could you provide other alternatives or ideas for mental activity games for older adults that could help keep them engaged?
Absolutely. I did when I was listening in to our panelists, which again, thank you for in them providing their time. But they mentioned, of course, as an Armenian community, finding difficulties to be able to adapt to a new country and the new customs. So I know for that, it's always more of a challenge. But we can always go back to basics when we talk about activities that could help them stay engaged. I know Alvard was talking about having number games, so maybe word games are always good to have to keep our loved ones engaged. Puzzles, card games, you can never go wrong with a card game. Maybe reading. That's always a good strategy. Anything that they can use with their hands. It could be cooking, it could be sewing, knitting, whatever it is that they can use with their hands. I think that's something that could kind of keep um, their mind engaged in everything that they do, or maybe bring in a hobby that they did in their country and just incorporate, maybe even painting. That's always very relaxing as well. So those are good activities that basic activities that they can use or utilize at least at home, and then they can do to stay engaged.
Absolutely. And I love that you said reading. And if some of our loved ones don't have the eyesight to read anymore, there's so many free audiobooks and podcasts available to keep the mind engaged that way as well.
Exactly.
Okay, so physical activity is always a challenge, whether you're old or young, but especially during our time with COVID. What are some physical activities you would recommend people could do in their homes?
Okay, so I know with COVID, that was a very big challenge for for one. I think in the beginning of COVID, everyone was just kind of afraid to leave their home. I think just the eerie feeling of seeing empty streets, right? It was just kind of scary. You just never thought that we would live to see something like that. But with that being said, I mean, there are so many things we can do. I think the most underrated exercise that people don't think about is walking. Walking is just so simple to do. I think during COVID, that was something I would discuss a lot with my clients and say, well, Giselle, I can't leave my house. I said, okay, I understand. Maybe if you are living in a home that has a long driveway, maybe practice going up and down your driveway. You didn't have to leave your house. If you live in an apartment, that was always more of a challenge. So I would tell my clients, I said, what is the biggest area in your house? So if it's your living room, then okay, how about just walk 10 minutes back and forth? I know that's boring, but maybe just put some earphones on and just walk. Okay. There's so many applications nowadays too with, YouTube. We have just apps in general that provide exercise activities. I know a lot of organizations and even cities have provided online classes that they could have done at home as well. And again, when it comes, I think with cultures coming out from other countries and not having access to a lot of the things, I think that makes it more of a challenge for them because they don't know where to look, right? So sometimes I love the Armenian community of how close knit they are, and I think it's a word of mouth most of the time. So I think it's, hey, I saw this website. Maybe you can join this, or have your daughter log you in, or so forth. Or I'll show you how to log in so you can do some exercises. So I think definitely doing some exercise in the home with walking, and of course, always check with a doctor before incorporate any form of exercise or physical activity. That's something that could definitely be used. I think one thing, as we age, one of the biggest challenges is balance. So, I used to see a lot of Tai Chi that could be incorporated. And again, we can incorporate a lot of these exercises going online, right? Maybe how do we stretch? And again, approval from your physicians. Lightweight training, even sitting in a chair, just little light weights, maybe 1 pound, 2 pound weights, and sitting in your chair. You really don't need a gym membership. You can do everything at home. So those are just simple exercises that you can do sitting. Even breathing is a good exercise as well, that we forget, to take our time and breathing in, breathing out. That's a good exercise to help release a lot of maybe stressors that we might, be experiencing throughout the day.
Absolutely. And studies are showing more that even if you just get in tiny little bits throughout the day, the accumulation throughout is just as beneficial as if you were to devote 30 minutes to one activity.
And nowadays, I think even those smartwatches or even your phone can remind you to breathe. Just a simple thing like that. I think everybody just forgets that. I think, I have to go to the gym. I have to use a treadmill, or I have to use a weight machine. It's like, no, you don't have to do all that. It's right at home. If you don't have weights, that's fine. Get a couple of bottle of waters and just lift them up, move them forward. Just simple things like that. It doesn't really incorporate. But again, always get approval from your physician first and foremost before attempting any form of exercise or physical activity, just for safety reasons.
Such a good point. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, we have a question from our community. Coming to America, we faced many challenges, from the language barrier to learning our way around within the community. We have found comfort within our Armenian and Farsi-speaking community, but what other support systems available for family caregivers such as ourselves?
That's a very good question. And I know Araz had mentioned how language was a barrier when she came to this country and trying to find help. And she resorted to the city. And I think a lot of people forget that cities do offer a lot of social services. And at that point, once you connect with cities, they obviously have access to other resources and they could, distribute. Now, and it's very scary for anyone coming into a new country with a barrier such as the language and not knowing where to go, feeling lost, especially if you're caregiving. And that's a challenge on its own because you already need help. You might not have your family here that you can just pick up the phone and say, hey, can you help me watch mom while I go to the market? You know, it's not that easy. But I think now it's much more easier in the sense that we have a lot of help with even phone calls and maybe they have the telephone assistant programs for language. So for example, I've had instances where I have clients that might not speak the same language, but we'll call the phone assistance line and we'll have like a third party kind of translate the conversation. So that always helps. There's also, again, when you are a close knit community, and again, I hear this a lot so much in the Armenian and Farsi, it's amazing when a community comes together, right? And I think once you start incorporating more and creating relationships with others, you can find a support. We start building our support system that way. So there's there's our center, of course, the Family Caregiver Resource Center here at USC. And again, we find ways with again, the phone line. We have the support groups. We have so many support services that are out there for them. And I think once you start navigating and branching out, I think that's taking the leap, right? The leap of faith. That's what we call it, right? You just kind of take that leap and say, you know what? Someone's bound to help me sooner or later. Even at the doctor's office, sometimes that's the first step. Whether you're being discharged to the hospital or if you're at your doctor's office for the first time and say, hey, this is I have a language issue, there's a barrier, we can't speak. They'll find a translator and we'll move from there. That translator could be the doorway to a lot of new things that they can definitely benefit from.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that. What are some of the things we can do for our loved ones or even ourselves when we're feeling sad and lonely, especially at times when most of our families are back in their home country?
I think with that, I think everyone just got a taste of it this last, year and a half to 2, right? I think no one can really relate. Not everyone can relate, to feeling lonely and sad, especially coming to a new country, not having anyone, maybe with a few cents in their pockets and a dream, right? And I think, again, as a community, when you come together as one, I think that helps, right? Building those relationships. For me, I see it a lot with my clients when they reach out to our center, whether they were referred by a physician or hospital or whatever the case may be. I remind them that they have me. They have me as a friend, as a support system. I said, don't forget that I'm here. I'm just a phone call away. And then I highly encourage for them to attend the support groups that we offer at the center. We have so many that we offer throughout the month. And I think coming in on a weekly basis, at least the support group that I facilitate is on a weekly basis, but we have others that we facilitate every other week. But I think by you attending those support groups, you tend to eventually build relationships. We did this buddy system in our support group. So what we did, we kind of started sharing a lot of our stories, and I said, hey, can I be a buddy with so-and-so? So they will kind of check in with one another. And a lot of the things that happen with this buddy system, they build relationships. And I hear this a lot in support group. Oh, we went to the movies, or we did this. Of course, pre-COVID, but it was so nice to hear that they were doing things and they were supporting each other, or, hey, how's mom, or how's just checking in. And I think coming into support group, whether it's a language barrier, it doesn't matter. One thing you will have in common is your caregiving situation. Whether you speak the language or not, you speak the same thing, which is called caregiving. So I think when people come together, and there's also programs that are designed to help loneliness. We have this program called the Youth Alliance, where seniors or loved ones could get connected to a particular person, depending on their likes or something they might have in common. Maybe it's their language, maybe they like doing things on computers, or they like playing chess. So they connect them and then they communicate. There's the friendship line too. And again, the friendship line is something that they can help, that can help them build relationship with others, within that community or another community. So, and it's not like back in the day when we do pen pals, right? Everybody would write letters. And, nowadays we have the comfort of Zoom and all these other virtual world that we're in to allow us to see others. And I think, I know they have mentioned how they see their loved ones on FaceTime, right? So that's another thing to help with the loneliness. But I think talking about it more to others that can relate will definitely help them with their journey, to know that they're not alone.
Such an important point. Unless you're a caregiver or have been a caregiver, you really can't understand the world. And so these support groups and finding your people, language, cultural connection or not, like you said, all caregivers, you all understand the story. You immediately are surrounded by people who understand what you're going through and how hard it is. And that's incredibly important for building social connections. And
absolutely.
Okay, we've got one more question that we have time for, and it is, with COVID-19, senior centers and places where people could congregate and eat have shut down. This is sort of an extension of our last question. So what else can we do to keep our loved ones engaged with others?
Okay. So yeah, it definitely is kind of an extension of what was being at. And I think everything is surrounded by COVID-19 because it was so challenging, not only for the caregivers, but also for their loved ones. Because as it was, I think even for caregivers, I'm going to focus a little bit on caregivers just because they had already experienced isolation as it is, right? They're being isolated because of their duties, right, of being a caregiver. Now they're alone in a country that makes it more of a challenge for them. But in this case, they're asking for their loved ones. And again, it goes back to those friendship lines, the support groups. Now, when the congregate sites closed, that was a challenge in general for everyone, because I know I heard it a lot from my caregivers that they had stated, just I'm seeing my loved one decline drastically because now they're not engaging with anyone. They're not doing anything, especially if they were attending the daycares or the congregate sites, where they have their meals. So it's like, what can I do? What can I do? So at that point, sometimes what I would do, and again, I think it's imperative for caregivers to at least connect with us. What I would do a lot of FaceTimes with my clients, and I would incorporate into a conversation their loved one and start talking or asking them questions about what they enjoy doing, or if what was a good meal. Maybe I didn't know what I wanted to cook for that day, so I would ask, what's a good meal you could recommend? What's the recipe? So I'll get them engaged, and then they'll start talking about food or things I thought. It is very challenging because a lot of them became very depressed that they did not want to do anything, whether it was a card game or it's like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do, I don't care. I don't want to do it. And that was more of a challenge. So when we talk about not wanting to do anything, we have to figure out ways. Maybe that day they don't feel like doing anything. Just because they told you that they didn't want to do it that day, that's fine. Let them. They have to have their moments. I recommend come back the next day. Don't give up. Say, hey, mom, or hey, dad, or sister, brother, grandma, grandpa, whoever they're caring for. I feel like playing a card game today. Do you want to play? No, I don't want to. It's like, okay. Hey, I thought about, I'm having a little party here at the house. It's a paint party. Those are kind of, very popular. We're going to have lemonade and painting, because many we cannot drink alcohol or do any wine, but we'll stick to the lemonade and let's paint. We're going to paint maybe something from their country or something something they can do together and paint. So maybe order those things on Amazon. Because of COVID-19, that was kind of hard, so maybe they weren't able to congregate with others, but maybe this is the time for caregivers to really connect with their loved ones, depending on their illness. Sometimes it might be hard, especially if they have Alzheimer's, to really engage with them. But I see it as an opportunity to create a memory with, for themselves, because you don't have them very long. At one point or another, they might not be able to hold that brush or that pencil, and they will not remember how to utilize that. And create memories, take pictures, do things that maybe bring up an old hobby that they enjoyed and do it with them. And I hear this a lot from caregivers, just, oh, but I'm so busy. I have all these chores. I said, guess what? The chores are there every single day. They're not going to go anywhere. They'll be waiting for you. Dishes are going to be waiting for you. So don't worry. Take a moment and stay with your loved one. So I think you become that congregate site. You become that place. And if it really is too much, because maybe they have children and it's kind of difficult and everybody was isolated at home and working remotely, then at that point, reach out to us or reach out to companies or agencies that could provide those connections, friendship connections. Let's connect you to a friendship line. Let's connect you to a support group. Let's connect you to therapy sessions. People misrepresent therapy as something that's wrong. And guess what? Just as important our physical health, our mental health is equally as important. So seeking out help from others, from a therapist to help us maybe support how do we take care of our loneliness or our sadness. You don't obviously have to go to medication, but can you help me gauge? Can you help me navigate this new life of mine here in this country? So that's ultimately how I would see it.
Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to add or say to our viewers out there?
I said, caregiving is not easy, but just know that you're doing this because you have it here in your heart to provide that love and care for your loved one. And it's going to be something that you'll take with you. Those are memories. It's a learning experience of not just caring for someone, but learning something about yourself. Okay. So it's sometimes you don't realize the strength that you actually have of who you are until you've caregived. So continue working hard and giving it your best. Just remember you are doing your best. There's no such thing as perfection. And just remember that we're all here to support.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Giselle, for joining us and sharing your time and your expertise and the different circumstances that Armenian families can experience while caregiving. It's been very informative and helpful. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, I want to thank everyone else for joining us today. We hope this discussion helped build your understanding about some of the unique cultural challenges Armenian family caregivers face. And even though we are focusing on a specific cultural community today, I think we can all agree that some of these experiences are universal. As I mentioned at the beginning, today's event is the second to last session in the series. We've been premiering a new panel every week this month, and we're almost at the end of the month. We only have one session left next week. For more information on our last event, you can visit the website address at the bottom of the screen. Being a family caregiver can often be confusing and overwhelming, and sometimes you don't know where to start or what you need. That's where we can help. The USC Family Caregiver Support Center is here for family caregivers. Our goals are to educate you, connect you to resources, and support you throughout your caregiving journey. Please be sure to visit us at www.fcsc.usc.edu or visit our social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to learn more and connect with our center. This discussion series is being recorded and will be available on our YouTube channel if you or someone you know wants to watch them on their own. If you came upon this video by chance and want to learn more about our center, please visit our website for more information. If you've watched all the videos in this series and you still haven't signed up for our program, what are you waiting for? All you need to do is sign up, is click on the yellow CareNav tab on the right-hand side of our website. It's never too late to ask for help. And remember, oftentimes it's what we don't know that hurts us. So don't be shy about getting connected to some of our experts. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like it below. Also make sure to click on the red subscribe button to subscribe to our YouTube channel and be notified every time we post a new educational video for the caregiving community. Before we sign off, I want to put in a special mention for Lisa's Care Connection. When I'm not here as a host on YouTube live streams, I'm the managing director of Lisa's Care Connection, located at Providence St. Joseph Hospital in Burbank, California. Our nonprofit organizations help family caregivers cope with Alzheimer's and chronic illness through tips, strategies, and support. You can learn more about Lisa's Care Connection and all our free services by calling us or visiting the website using the information below. Take good care of yourself, and until next time, just remember that caregivers fight on. Have a great rest of your day.
Is it